From downtown, this is Tim Kitzer from NBA Jam, and you're listening to NintenDomain Podcast. Boom shakalaka!
This week on NintenDomain, Nintendo has acquired Shiver, and I acquired some birthday gifts.
Might as well throw me down a well. I'm finished.
2 down, some larger number to go.
NintenDomain Podcast, episode 423, your place to hear Nintendo fans talk about Nintendo's acquisitions and other things. And we are your hosts. I'm Trey. You are Butthole Johnson.
Hey, that's not very nice. I'm Jereme. No face. Cards. Mikowski.
I'm John. Backlog Slayer Knitter.
I meant like I am Butthole, not you are Butthole. Like
You're with Butthole.
I am Butthole. You are
I'm
Butthole.
with Butthole.
Yeah. I'll explain it all later when I get to it.
You better.
Butthole is
you got
you.
some splaining to do. A butthole is you.
It's the joke, yeah. That's the joke.
A butthole is you.
Let's start off the show as we normally do and talk about games we got and games that we've been playing. I got a bunch of stuff. Got a bunch of birthday stuff because my birthday was last Sunday. But we were in Tennessee for family stuff. Just I were. But I did manage to visit a place that I got some stuff from while I was there, and also I got some other things. But yeah, we went to we had a couple hours to kill on Saturday, so we ended up going to this resale toy place called Replay Toys, and we found out there's like a chain of them in Tennessee, but we only went to one. But I got a couple things that I thought I should show to you because they're fun. So, and they're video game related. They both of them are in a video game. So there you go. So here we go. First off, I got myself another wrestling toy finally. And I only bought this one because I'd never seen it before. And this is Samoa Joe, who is is the newest DLC character in AEW Fight Forever.
Yes, and plays the clown in Twisted Metal TV show.
Yeah, the body, not the voice. But yeah. He's
video game related.
Well, he's also in AEW Fight Forever, so he's in a video game. But yeah, the previous world champion of AEW, Samoa Joe. I'd never seen this toy before. I'd heard talk about it. Actually, a friend of the show, Shake, he always had this. He always had this theory that whenever the characters get scanned for a toy, they end up becoming DLC. And some other YouTuber like. Called him out for it and said it was wrong, but he was right on this one. When the Samoa Joe toy got scanned, the DLC came not that far behind it. But this is a Target exclusive too, which is pretty cool. And it was actually they were selling it for $20, and normally they sell these for like $25 at Target or like various retailers. So I thought it was a good deal. I thought most of the stuff was kind of a little overpriced there, but this is actually a good deal. So Samoa Joe,
those are pretty nice looking, right? Like those like McFarlane toys quality, that kind of thing.
I think they look pretty good. I mean, it varies. Some look better than others, but he's got like a real towel. Joe always comes out wearing a towel, and he's wearing he has like a cloth towel on him here, and they got the different hands and all that. I've never opened any of these because I kind of like the way they look in the package, and they also seem really complicated to open. So I have them, up there. I think I'm gonna put Joe in the basement somewhere because I got up top here. We have We got Nyla and Lucius and Luchasaurus and Kenny Omega back there. So so that's it's a little full back there. But I figured I'd put Joe somewhere in the basement somewhere. But yeah, got myself another AW toy, and I look at these most of the time, and I kind of see the same ones most of the time. But I've never seen Joe, so why not? He's cool. He's cool looking.
Friend of the show, Joe.
Yeah. Not to be confused with Joe, the other Joe. But I also got, this is probably the funniest thing. I had to get it just because it's silly, but I also bought this Toxic Avenger pillow.
That's awesome.
That I found at this toy place, and it's got like fringe.
That's incredible.
Fringe on the back or whatever. It was $30. Maybe that's a bit much, but I've never seen anything like this before. So
that's a little steep, but I still think it's pretty cool. If it fits your aesthetic, totally.
I looked it up online, and it was selling for the same price on eBay, so I went for it.
It's like a nice quality pillow. It's just to describe it, it's like a throw pillow you could put on your couch or something like that. But it's actually the shape of his head. It's not like a square pillow. It's got like a background.
It's kind of like egg shaped.
Yeah, it's like it's a toxic. Yeah, it's a Toxic Avenger pillow. So it's Toxie's face here, and it's got like those. It's got these little whatever you call them, little like doodads coming out on the side, like kind of like
a shag carpet or something on the back.
Yeah, kind of like frizz or whatever
it's like
coming around it. But it's soft and it's funny, and yeah, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, well, how many places are you going to see a Toxic Avenger pillow? So I think you got to get
Trey, that's totally your Squishmallow.
So there you go. Yeah, for sure.
Is this a vintage thing or is it?
It doesn't look vintage.
No, it's new. I'm pretty sure
it's too like brightly printed.
Oh, you know what? Is it associated with the new Toxic Avenger movie or
no? Fuck
why
no.
They would make this.
Well, no. I mean, look at. I haven't seen the new Toxic Avenger, but I know of the Toxic Avenger, and this is the classic Toxic Avenger face here. And if you look at the tag here, you see the Toxic Avenger, like the proper font, the Trauma font in the face and all that. And it's made by Creepshow Collectibles. So, and it says Trauma Entertainment 2021 on it. So I mean, obviously. This is way before I don't even think the either one had even come out. But if you want to make money off anything, don't make any merchandise of the Toxic Avenger reboot. Just make stuff of the original Toxic Avenger, because who would want that? Who would want a pillow of that one?
I wonder if, because Trump, Lloyd's a smart guy. They got the new movie coming out soon, and so I'm sure he's.
I thought it already came out.
The trailer came out. I don't know when the movie actually comes out. I'm wondering.
It came out like last year. I already read reviews of it and all that. Like it came out like a long time ago.
So it was on, but it was on like South by Southwest or something like that. But I don't think it's got an actual proper release yet. But I would guess that he's ramping up merchandise on Toxic Avenger stuff on his own version because he's smart.
It was released. It was released in September of last year. It was released on September 21st of 2023. It already came and went, and everyone's already forgotten about it. And I think it's best to just forget about that movie. I mean, I haven't seen it, but I don't care to either. So
I want to avenge.
So no, I heard talk about it briefly, and that wasn't very good from last year. So it's best to stick with the true winner in all of us, which is the original Toxic Avenger.
The fact that it was not good was so unsurprising that no one talked about it. It's kind of how it seems.
I read a review of it, and it felt like, I mean, I know Lloyd said that the guy was a Trauma fan, but it felt like an injustice to the movie because it had fake blood in it. And I'm talking about CGI blood, not real blood. If you wanted to do something that was trying to be dedicated to Trauma, then you need real cheap fake blood.
Effects,
yeah, you need practical effects because that's a huge thing about their movies. So that seemed like a major misstep. And whoever reviewed it on IGN said they didn't quite understand why everything, like all the gunshots and the blood and all that, were completely CGI, which seems like a very non-Trauma thing. Like if you wanted to capture the feeling of the Toxic Avenger, you need those like that gross, real exploding blood and all that, So
I remember someone blew an actual Sennheiser with a Magnum blast in one of the movies.
It's true. It happened in Terraformer. Now I was talking to the guy who worked at the store, and I was like, I like Toxic. I'm a sucker for Toxic Avenger things. And he's like, oh, we have a Toxic Avenger blanket too. And I'm like, really? No, I guess they didn't have it there. They had it at other stores, but I'm interested in trying to find that because there's this horror movie store by us called, not necessarily by us, but in Chicago, called the Horror House that Jess and I went to like a few weeks ago. And actually, my friend Darren, his wife Jessica had her 40th birthday a month ago, I bought her a horror blanket from there. I bought her a blanket of the VHS cover of Reanimator from there, and
That's awesome.
and she loved it. So this horror place, they've been making like blankets based on old VHS covers. So they have like so they have the Reanimator one. I forget what the other one was. There was a couple of different ones, but they're making a Beetlejuice one and another one. But this guy said that there were also like blankets based on the VHS covers of The Toxic Avenger, and I'm like, well, that's really cool too. So I like that idea. So I don't know. I'll have to check out the website and see if I can order it or whatever at some point. But yeah, it was a cool place. We found some stuff there, but a lot of it seemed a little bit over. But yeah, the Toxic one, that was like, if I ordered it online, it would be the same price. So it was fine for me. And yeah, it'll work with my aesthetic downstairs. I can put it on one of the recliners or whatever, and it'll totally fit in. I mean, I already have a Toxic Avenger patch that I bought directly from Troma. That's on the other side of
Just
the
think
wall
how
over
cute
here.
it is going to be when one of your kitties lays next to the Toxie face.
Tanuki might lay on it. Also, I got these Mario Kart Hot Wheels cars from Jess's brother Jason. Sent these to me for my birthday, which we didn't.
Oh, cool!
We didn't know about. It kind of came out of nowhere. So I wanted to show them. I want to show them to the podcast, and then I'll put them up. I'll hang them up above the window over here by the TV.
Are you going to open them, or are you going to leave them in the package?
No, I'll keep them in the box.
What?
Because
toys deserve to be free.
Because Jess got me like a Hot Wheels style, like a model, like basically something like this of like the train, of like the bullet train from Japan that I have like by the TV over there, which is really cool. So I was going to put these over by that, because I also have these. I got these little plastic Buddhas from Jess's grandma that I put up there too, and also all my Animal Crossing amiibo are up there, because I got these little. I'll show them to you when you get here, Jereme.
I have a Garfield Buddha. I
got these little Animal Crossing, or not. I got these little shelves that are about the size of amiibo, and I kind of built like this little like amiibo shelf thing around the apartment, so they finally all have places to be. But yeah,
that's awesome.
That's my physical stuff.
Everyone deserves to feel like they have a place to be.
Yes,
including plastic Buddhas.
And I had a whole bunch of amiibo that were just sitting around all over the place, and I really wanted to put them somewhere. And now they're all on shelves. So hooray! Including these ones back here also. But also I got some eShop points from John. Got some from John. Thanks.
No problem.
And I also got some from Tim from Jess's other brother. Sent me a card with some eShop points on there. So I bought New Star GP, which is an arcade racing game that I had heard about. It actually released earlier this year, and it came out for $30. And I wasn't ready to throw $30 on it, because I've been betrayed by so many racing games in the past, so I wasn't sure on it. But it was on sale. It was on sale for $18, so I went for it, and it's actually pretty good. It's made by the same people who created the Retro Bowl game, which I played that one too, and it was good. It's basically like, it's inspired by like Tecmo Bowl and those sort of things, but it's more it's kind of almost like a sports RPG. Like, it has management stuff to it. So you start off as a coach, and it's kind of funny because it starts off and it's like, so if you could coach any football team, who would you coach? And I said the Bears, and they're like, well, they're too good. So you got to start with Florida. You got to start with the Jaguars, which is funny because that's the team that AEW owns also. But I was like, well, the Bears suck too. You could have given me the Bears, and that could have easily started with that and then went to a better team.
I was hearing that Tony Khan owns a soccer team too, like in somewhere in Europe.
Oh, maybe. I don't know about that. I know about the Jaguars. And I don't know if you saw it, but they're doing this whole angle where the Young Bucks and Jack Perry are like taking over AEW, and they attacked Tony Khan, like on an episode, and he had like the neck brace, and he was wearing the neck brace for all of the football for all of like the football drafts and all that for
he like was
for Jaguar
through.
Oh yeah, he fully embraced it. But after he got attacked, his dad came out and was like looked at him on the ring. He was all like, "Oh my God, my son is dead," or whatever. It was pretty funny.
Oh, so his dad's getting to be part of it too.
So his dad was on TV. Yeah, I mean, this is like maybe a month ago, but yeah, once they started doing this whole,
is he okay?
Tony Khan, yeah, he's fine. But they're doing this whole thing where like now he can't travel with the team, so now the Young Bucks can take over even more, because they are the EVPs. Anyway, that's this whole storyline with
It's a bit like making Vince McMahon the bad guy, except he actually was the bad guy.
Yeah, well, I mean, Vince McMahon, I mean, he's not going to be, I was actually kind of a little, I don't know, I wasn't super into Tony Khan becoming a character. I always kind of liked that he was just a wrestling nerd guy that just was just all excited about the show. I mean, I didn't know if I didn't want him to go like the Eric Bischoff, like, Vince McMahon route and all that, but
You would.
he came out and he got attacked one time, and then we haven't really seen him ever since. So, they kind of toned that down. I don't know.
Didn't he almost actually get attacked by
CM Punk? Yeah. That's why he fired him. Well, he was advised to fire him, but yeah, that was the thing. He said he felt threatened by CM
Maybe
Punk.
it was a parody of that whole thing. And they're just like, let's get some content.
Kind of, I guess. I mean, they did actually show that footage too. That was a big thing. They showed the footage from All In where CM Punk attacked Jack Perry and all that. So I mean, there was a whole thing, kind of a back and forth between them and WWE and all that. But yeah, super sidetrack. But anyway, New Star GP, yeah, from the guys who made Retro Goal as well, which is also a soccer management game, and New Star Manager. Anyway, they're really good at making like retro styled management games, and the Retro Bowl game was really good. It's like I said, you play as a coach, and you can like. You can do the NFL draft and draft in your different players, and there's injuries and all that stuff. And I remember you could only play from the offense side because when it was and you can choose like where to throw the ball to. But on the defense, you just have to build up your stats, and your defense will kind of do their own thing. But New Star GP. It's like F1 style racing, which also kind of inspired me to get it because Indy 500 is coming up this weekend, and that was a race that I used to go to all the time with my dad. And Jereme went with me once, a couple of years.
I did.
How many years ago?
One of the coolest things I ever did.
You got to experience the true, whatever.
I thought it was amazing.
the true, whatever you want to call it, of Indiana. No, I think it. I mean, I grew up on it. I think it's fun. It's an all day thing, 500 miles, like 200 some laps. But I was kind of a little in the mood for racing, so I was like, well, let's try that New Star GP game, and I like it a lot. It's got fun management stuff. It's like you basically you beat levels and you gain money and you buy new stuff for your cars and you have to upgrade your cars to like to drive faster or whatever. And you go from like country to country. But there's like what's cool about it is there's like different events that'll happen. Like say like the other racers are almost kind of characters. Like they'll like call you out and be like, oh, you cut me off on this race or whatever. And you can say like, fuck you, or you can be like, who's that? And you can piss them off. And then they'll be more aggressive towards you next time you race them. So it actually changes the way the AI behaves in the game, which I thought that was really cool. And it'll show the character will have like steam coming out of their ears, like if they don't like you. So like when you pass them, it'll show their head and it'll show steam coming out of their ears to know that they're going to try their best to get you out of the race and all that. So yeah, I've been having fun with it. I got through like three countries or so, and you basically like you go from country to country to country, but the game will change in decades. So you start out in the 80s, and then once you get through all those countries, you'll go to the 90s, and then the cars will be more designed like the F1 races were in the 90s, and then you'll go to the 2000s and the 2010s and the 2020s. So it's like it kind of goes. It's almost like its own like history of F1 racing as well in there, and it's pretty cool. I was really impressed with it for what it was, and I think it would have been worth the full $30 if I went for that. And I think it's on sale for like 3 more hours as of right now. So it won't be on sale anymore whenever people hear this. But yeah, that was what I got with my extra money that I got for my birthday. So I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty cool. And you can also like whenever you win like a big race, they'll ask you to donate your winnings to like some sort of a charity thing, and you can say no and keep it, and which I've been doing. But like my manager called me and said that I need to stop doing that because it's making me look bad, and then I'm going to lose sponsors. So there's like fun.
Yeah, what are you, Joel Osteen?
Yeah, so there's like these fun extra things that you don't normally see in racing games. Where like you have to kind of try to like, and you have to keep your crew members happy too. Like there'll be different events that you have to do. It kind of reminds me a little bit of AW Fight Forever single player, where you can go out where you can go do different things. Like you can go to the gym, or you can or you can train or whatever. But depending on what you do, will affect whether your crew members are happy with you or not. I guess they want you to go on a thing, and if you go with one and not the other, then one will get mad or whatever. So there's cool management stuff like that. So it's got a lot more depth to it than just racing. But the racing mechanic is pretty good too for what it is, and there's like weather conditions too, and there's a whole pit too. You there's a whole like pit thing where you go in the pit and there's like little mini games based around refueling the car, and I guess not necessarily mini games. You just like hold a button to refuel your car, or you pick whatever tire you want for the situation. Like if it's raining, there's special rain tires you can use, and you can upgrade your tire, like how tough the tire is, and and you can upgrade how long your gas lasts and stuff like that, and how sharp your turns are, and acceleration, and all that fun stuff. The stuff that I like from racing games. So yeah, it was fun. It was a fun game. So I got that with the birthday points. So on my actual birthday, we were driving back from Tennessee, which we did actually stop at Jereme's house for a little bit, for a couple hours. We stopped through Champaign because we were taking 57. So I was like, well, we should just stop by and then we can take a break, and then and it didn't take that. It took us like an hour and 40 minutes or whatever to get to our house from your house. It wasn't that bad.
Oh yeah. It's a great drive.
Pretty quick.
You know how
drive.
Awesome it is to get to your house now, which I'll be doing on Saturday.
It's it's a pretty quick drive. It's not bad. I mean, I knew it was going to be under 2 hours, but it wasn't too bad from here to there. But yeah, we went there. We had some sushi tacos and some whiskey, and it was fun. We hung out. But the day after,
it was a good time.
Yeah, for sure. But on Monday, the plan was that we were going to go out and do stuff like birthday stuff, and we finally used John's Galloping Ghost day passes that have been sitting.
Yeah, there you go. From like 4 years ago.
Yeah, they traveled from one apartment to this house, and they were finally used. I'm glad that I found them. I thought I had lost them, but I found them. They were pretty easy to find.
I think you got them for us before the pandemic.
Yeah, it was either. I thought it was.
I got them.
I thought it was maybe 2020 or before.
You might have got them to support the store during the pandemic. Maybe that's what.
Oh yeah, I think
I got it during the pandemic, and I think it was for Christmas or something.
No, I remember now.
And
I also still have mine.
Yeah,
but we used them. We used them finally. We went to Galloping Ghost, and I realized that I don't think I've been to Galloping Ghost since before we got married, since like the pre-wedding party and all that when we were all there in 2019. And I told that guy at the front desk, I don't think he cared, but I was like, I haven't been here in like 5 years.
Yeah, it's gotten a lot bigger now. They just opened the expansion, so you saw the expansion.
It's huge.
Yeah?
Oh, no, well, I mean, it still had as many rooms as it did when we were there. I just felt like all of the games were packed. Like there were more games than were there when we were there. Like, because we did have the extra rooms, but I don't think they were already all full, like to the walls. But it was pretty packed in there, and there was a lot of stuff in there. It's kind of overwhelming too. Like, I don't know how long we were there for, but I felt like I barely played anything. I
love the sound of that place
because there's so much shit.
Every time I go there, I'm just like, oh, this is like this. They need to make a tape of the sound for me.
They should just have a YouTube ASMR channel of the Galloping Ghost live stream, just the sound of the arcade.
Well, I thought about that. Would they let me do that? Would they let me just take my recorder in there and just like walk through and do like a presence track of the arcades, or I could just record different parts of the area, and then we'd have like I could do that. Like I could totally walk through there with a mic and just get a presence track of the arcade. Like I thought about that while I was there, because I know that both of you talked about how much talked about how much you like that. I was like, well, I could do like a room tone thing, and I could put it, I could just share it with you two and just send it to you, and you'd be like, here's like a 20 minutes of. Or I could
Ghost ASMR.
I could like layer it easily. I don't need to record like an hour.
I want to hear the sound of people pissed off.
I didn't see any of that. Like no, everybody seemed pretty.
No one's ever like that there when I'm there.
Yeah, nobody seemed really mad. I saw Doc Mac there for a second. I didn't really talk to him, but he had a part of the arcade was roped off. Because I thought maybe he was doing a video or something like that. Like when you come in and you go to the left and that's like where all the Mortal Kombat stuff. I didn't go over there because it was all kind of roped off.
Okay.
So, because I thought he was filming something, and I saw him sitting over there looking at one of the arcades. So, I didn't get to go over there. But,
I think I actually have 2 passes because I got one through the Kicks. Didn't we get one through the Kickstarter when we supported to do the premiere or whatever? Did you also get a pass?
Oh yeah. Maybe.
The movie.
Yeah, I guess there was levels on that. I don't remember what level I'm on. Maybe, I don't know if you have to print those or they send them to you. I don't remember if I did it high enough to get the day pass for that, but
Yeah.
Maybe I didn't get the
Ghost
day
Lord
pass.
and the Quest for Dark Presence.
yeah,
I might have just got the premiere. I didn't know if that was part of the package or not.
But yeah, we're still waiting. Still waiting to see that movie. But so yeah, we walked around. We kind of like we played Tapper together, and then we kind of just like split off and just went and did different things, and and we played. Yeah, Jess always destroys me at Tapper because they're much better at that game than I am. But Tapper's a fun game. But I saw there was Tapper and there was Timber and there was another game that like all had the same guy in it, like the same mustache dude. No, it's not. I forget what it's called. No, it's called like Domino Man or something like that. There's like Domino Man and not Thumper, Domino Man and Tapper and Timber, but it's all the same character. Like he all looks the exact same guy with the mustache. And Domino Man, he's like setting up the dominoes. And the Timber one, obviously you're knocking down a tree with another person, but there's also like birds that attack you and stuff while you're trying to knock the tree down. You kind of have to dodge them. So there's this whole world of Tapper that we didn't know. The character had other games. So it's the same. It's the same dude.
Too many beer cups and move on to the job.
I find a new job exactly.
But it's all like they're the same. It's still like Bally Midway. It's all the same company, and they're all right next to each other too. So it's like here's the trilogy of this guy. But I played through some games. I got to some credits on some of them. I played what was it? I beat Star Wars Trilogy. I feel like I always beat that game whenever I go to Galloping Ghost. If you remember that game, it was a Sega made game. And it's basically all kind of like
a vector graphics.
No, it came out in like 2000, so everything looks pretty good.
Oh, okay.
No, the original Star Wars game was just called Star Wars. That's the vector one. Well, there's Star Wars and there's Empire Strikes Back. Both of those are vector graphics. But this one came out in the late 90s, early 2000s because I remember it was at the arcade for my friend Aaron Shirley's wedding. We had a bachelor party in an arcade around Lincoln. Might have been, I forget where it was, but they had that game there, and we just kind of like we just rented it out, and we were the only ones there, and I played through it there. But yeah, you basically go through the main events of Star Wars, But there's cool parts, like there's parts where you fight Darth Vader with the joystick, or you fight Boba Fett with the joystick too, where you bounce, where you get to like deflect the laser blasts and all that, and there's kind of like almost a first person shooter thing where you're walking through like the Hoth base and you get to shoot the giant wampas and all that. I don't know. I always play that game because I always think it's fun. But it's basically just aiming and shooting. That's all you really do. You're not really you're not really dodging or everything. It's all about like how quickly you can shoot stuff. But I beat that game. I got the credits. I played I played like Episode 1 Racer, like that was right next to it. There was another Star Wars game that looked older. I think that was based on the Saturn Star Wars game, because there's another Star Wars trilogy game that was on Saturn, which I always thought was the arcade, but it's not, because I played it at John Wedgeworth's house. It's a completely different game. It basically I guess it's sort of modeled off the original Vector one, but with much better graphics, I think.
Was that on 32X as well?
No, maybe it was the 32X one. Maybe it wasn't Saturn.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, maybe it was 32X. But anyway, there was a Star Wars game on there that was called Star Wars Trilogy that I thought was the arcade, but it's not. It kind of feels sort of like the same levels of the original like Vector one, but with kind of better graphics. I think that one was to the left of me. I didn't try it. I thought about it, but there were people on it whenever I got off the trilogy one. But my favorite game that I played that I never played before is this game called Laser Ghost. Have you guys ever heard of this game?
Sounds cool. It's on the title.
It's basically like it's a light gun game, but you
I remember that game.
Yeah, it's a light gun game. So you have this gun that you hold with two hands, and it has a screen that you look through, and it's kind of like an AR game almost. Like you look through the screen and there's a laser that comes through, but you'll only see it when you look through the screen of the gun that you're holding. And you basically go through all these haunted house levels and you shoot a bunch of demons and ghosts and all that. And I beat that game because I thought it was really fun. So I played all the way till credits at the end. And I actually got a higher score than the world record, but I'm sure they got that in one quarter. I continued like multiple times. So I did notice that the world record was like 499 and I got like 530 or something like that. 530,000. So I was like, hey, I beat the record. And I was like, well, they probably did.
We'll just consider you the world record holder now.
I was like, they probably did it without continuing. The
official NintenDomain podcast world record holder.
Yeah.
It's Trey.
I did see Caitlin's name on Splatterhouse when we walked by Splatterhouse. I was like, oh, there it is. It was because they have the displays of like what the top records are of everything. Which is, I mean, you guys know that. But yeah,
you should tweet her that. take a picture and tweet it to her. I always do that.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't take a picture of it. I don't think I took a picture of anything. I was too busy playing games. But no, but Laser Ghost was awesome. I had a great time with it. It's kind of like it kind of feels like its own sort of knockoff Ghostbusters, but you're just shooting ghosts and stuff. But it had some really cool like light gun stuff, like, and I like horror games and all that, so that was fun. And you could play it sitting down also. Like I think all the games that I played were all sit down games, like the ones that I beat. Like Star Wars Trilogy is sit down. There's actually 3 guns. There's one gun that you stand up, and there's 2 on the sides that have a seat. So I sat on the side ones and played it all the way through. And there was this whole row of racing games. So I was like, let's play as many of these racing games as we can. I tried playing Sega, like the Sega and All Stars Racing, and it had no sound. And it was so weird. It had no sound whatsoever. So I'm just playing this game completely silent. And I'm just like, this is really strange. I'm like, they really cut a loud out when they cut the audio of these things. And some of the games were off, like the F-Zero game wasn't working. We went to go find the Spider-Man arcade game because that's one of my favorites, but that game wasn't working either. So that was unfortunate. But yeah, some games just didn't have sound, or some games I just couldn't figure out how to do. Like there was some other older like ghost shooting game, and I pushed all the buttons. I pushed the buttons for the credits, like the credits wouldn't fill. I pressed all the buttons on it, and it just wouldn't start. There was another like Chicago racing. It was called like Chicago 1929 or something like that. It's like it was like a mafia style racing game, which I was like, oh, this looks cool. You got Tommy guns, you got those old like Dick Tracy looking cars or whatever. And I couldn't get it to start. Like it kept saying press start, and I pressed the start button. I pressed all the buttons, like nothing would turn on. It just kept demoing, and none of it would work. So, some of
those mobster cars, like instead of nitro boosts, they had like whiskey boosts.
They put their Tommy guns behind the cars, and they just shoot their Tommy guns. And it makes the car go faster. It's like a booster, but with bullets. But no, I mean I wanted to try it out, but that one didn't work. But I did play I played Cruising the World, because that's a pretty chill game, and I beat that game also. I got all the way to the end. And at the very end of the game, I think you end the game in Florida, and you get on a spaceship and you fly to the moon, and then Bill Clinton lands in front of you in like a lunar lander with a hot tub with 2 girls with like 2 bikini ladies with him, and he says, "Have a good time and don't inhale," and then he floats away.
Are you kidding me? He says, "Don't inhale."
Yeah, he says, "Don't inhale" in the game. Yeah, I heard it.
He inhales.
He said he's like, have a good time and don't inhale, and then he flies off, and then you see Eugene Jarvis like in an astronaut suit like fly at the camera, and then that's how their credits are. It's like all of the different developers like faces stuck on a 3D like astronaut body, and they all just kind of fly at the camera. And yeah, I saw the end of the game. I saw Bill Clinton. He told me not to inhale, so I won't now ever. Even though
I remember that was a thing where he it was a scandal that he smoked pot, but he claimed that he didn't inhale. That was his defense.
Well, I remember someone asked Obama about that one time, like before he was president. I don't know if he was campaigning yet, and he was like, "Yeah, I did, and I actually did inhale because I hear that's the point." Or he says a lot of those lines.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that being
made
a thing.
T-shirts about it, and it's like, yep, that turned around.
So yeah, I remember Jess and I just talking about the I didn't inhale thing. And yeah, and I beat the game, and then there was Bill Clinton saying, "Don't inhale."
Bill Clinton was in far too many video games that he deserved.
I think he was in Cruising USA too. I think he was in. I mean, I never beat Exotica.
Of course, he was.
He's probably in that
NBA
one too.
NBA Jam. Yep.
And then
his cat
obviously,
had a game
like Animaniacs had
canceled.
him in the opening song. He was just like a pop culture phenomenon, and like
every week he was in Animaniacs.
Scandal time. Yeah.
He was in The Simpsons too. He was in that Simpsons episode. He was in a couple. But there were a few presidents in there. But
everybody's been in The Simpsons.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was actually him. There was a version of him though.
Next X-Pack. Best Bill Clinton games.
Oh, geez. But I played. Did you guys play that Willow game that's there? Have you seen that in the Galloping Coast? The one
I saw it.
The one that's only in Japanese.
I should have stopped and played. I know.
Is it based off of the game or the movie Willow?
Yeah, it's based on the movie.
No, I have not played that. I was hoping it was based off the Will Smith's daughter and her musical career.
Nobody would play that. But
her new album's actually really good, so I don't know. Be careful.
I mean, she probably when she was born, arcades didn't exist, so they didn't make any games about her. But no, the Willow game is cool. It makes me sad because I remember that great Disney Plus show that was completely removed from the service. And you can't even see it anymore, you jerks. Yeah, they completely tried to make us forget about it. I thought it was awesome. Jess and I watched that the whole way through. And
they took Short Run way too literally.
It was a good show. And then it's just really stupid when when people work on a thing and streaming services are like, oh yeah, no, we're going to make it so your show doesn't exist. So if you want to tell somebody that you're on a thing and you want them to watch it, they can't because it doesn't exist anymore.
It's gone.
Every time it seems like something's better in the world, you have to realize that the better thing means a lot of other things are worse.
Sure. But
like smartphones, that's a good example.
But Willow the game is cool. I mean, it's hard. I would love to see it re-released on Switch or something so I could have more time to try to dive into it. But I got far enough. I got to Mad Mardigan. I got that far at least. But the first level, you start off as Willow Ufgood, and you got Billy Barty, the magician guy, telling you everything. It's all in Japanese, so I don't know what they're saying. But I've seen the Willow movie a million times, so I know what's happening in the story.
Is this like when was this made? Is this from the 80s?
I thought Willow was. I mean, Willow would be like early 90s or late 80s, but
no, it was late 80s.
It looks like
88, I think.
I mean, it looks like a Super Nintendo game, I would say, if you look at it.
Okay,
but it played pretty good.
Late 80s arcades started to look like that for sure.
Yeah, 1988. No, it looks pretty good. It could have been a prototype for all I know, but it's it's not in English. It's all in Japanese. But you start in Willow's village. Those creepy looking dogs are in there. You can shoot fire, since you're a magician and all that. So you kind of you shoot little fireballs with your magic wand, and you can unlock treasures. And there's there's stores you can find, and you can buy life, and eventually I guess you can get higher weapons, better weapons. But I never had enough money to buy that. But I made it all the way through the first level, and I beat the boss, and then I found Mad Mardigan stuck in the cage like you do in the movie, and then I became Mad Mardigan, and then I was playing through that level when he's at the town, when he gets attacked for pretending to be a woman or whatever. You get to play through that scene, which hasn't aged well. But it was I don't know. Like I said, I was always a big fan of that movie, so it was cool to see this game that I've never played of it before. But it was pretty hard. Once I got to Mad Mardigan, I kept dying over and over again. I'm like, all right, I need to switch to a different game. This is killing me too much.
I hope Warwick Davis got a check every time he played.
I wish. No, he should.
Commission.
He needs all he can get. I mean, they pulled this show off of Disney Plus. Fuck, they probably pulled the movie off too. And there was this other. I guess I had one more story. I was playing. I played the captain. So since the Spider-Man game wasn't working, I wanted to play like, a Marvel like beat 'em up game. And of course, X-Men was occupied. There was a couple of people already playing that game, and I didn't want to jump on that. I was like, they're going to play it till they beat it, and I'm not going to wait till they're done. But I found there's the different rooms, and all the different rooms have different lighting. Like the back room is really dark, and everything looks really good in there. And some of the farther front rooms are a little bit darker too. But this like third room was like brighter, where like actually had like the fluorescence on, so it was kind of too bright. So I wanted to play Captain America and the Avengers, the arcade game, which they had there, which was always one of my favorites. And it had, it's kind of like the Simpsons game or the Turtles game where you you put in your coins on whatever character you want to be, and then you stand at a different side of the arcade, to play as whoever.
Yeah.
And I wanted to play as Vision, so I was like, I'll play as Vision. And I'm playing as I start playing as Vision, and there's this like fluorescent light like right above the arcade, and it's just like blasting the screen, and I can't see anything. Like there's this horrible glare on the screen of the arcade, and I can't see shit. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm just going to pick somebody else. So I go to the other side. I go all the way to the other side, and I pick Hawkeye, so the glare is gone. And I start playing as Hawkeye, but I already put all this fake money into Vision. So Vision has like 900 hit points, and I'm playing with Hawkeye, and he's got like 500 hit points. So I'm basically like fighting with Hawkeye, and then I'm holding like both of the joysticks, and I'm moving them both from one screen to the next, just so they'll move along, because they won't move like when you go to the next thing.
So you basically have your tank. Your tank is like a non-player character.
Pretty much. Well, I guess it does kind of distract some of the enemies too. They'll go after Vision, but Vision made it all the way through pretty much. Like I was like, because I didn't have, we wanted to go to the other thing that I'll talk about in a second, but we didn't have that much time left, so I wanted to I was like, I'll just play for a while, and then whenever I run out of hit points, and I wanted to get, there's like shoot 'em up levels in that game. I wanted to do one of the shoot 'em up levels, which that's pretty easy because the character will move on their own. You don't have to worry about that. But I got all the way to the third level, which is like the Submariner level where you're on top of the water and then you go underwater and there's like shoot 'em up stuff underwater too. I got there and I died with Hawkeye and Vision still had life. So I'm like, all right, well, let's finish this off with Vision. And I tried to fight and I still couldn't see anything from the glare. So I was just trying to let my guy get killed or whatever. But, no, it's fun. I like the bosses on there, and yeah, and like you were saying, it's nice to have another character on there because then they'll distract the bosses, and the other characters will attack your other character. But it's kind of funny, like me, just with both of the joysticks moving from side to side. But another thing we really wanted to do, just because I've never gone, is we wanted to go to Galloping Ghost Pinball, which we did do. So on top of the day passes, all you have to do is pay $5 extra, and you can go to the Galloping Ghost Pinball. So Jess is a big pinball fan. We both have a lot of fun pinball stories and all that. So we wanted to go see the Galloping Ghost Pinball, and it's not as big as arcade. It's only like 2 rooms, but there is a lot of good pinball games there. And we just played a bunch of 2-player ones. The guy in there was like, just make sure and finish the game. Don't leave the game on. Play all the way through your game or whatever you're doing. And we played, let's see, what did we play? We played Nightmare on Elm Street, which was cool. That was a later Freddy Krueger one, because it had stuff from all the way through Freddy's Dead in there, like quotes of it. But it was fun, and it had a Freddy head in the pinball machine that talked to you. That's like the mouth moved. It'd be like, "You want a nappy?"
Oh, cool.
And it'd like say all this dumb shit.
Could you hit like a ball into his mouth or anything?
You could, yeah. And when you got multi-ball, it shot balls out of his mouth, which is pretty cool. So we got multi-ball in most of the arcade games, or most of the pinball games that were there. But we did not. Medieval Madness wasn't there, which was a shame. We didn't have that, so that sucked. But they had Pinbot. They had all the Pinbot games. They had Pinbot, they had Bride of Pinbot, and they had Jackbot, which I've actually never played before. Jackbot is like a combination of Pinbot and Blackjack. It's like a poker pinball game.
Oh, interesting.
So we played that. We never played that before. We played Pinbot. There was a lot of really cool ones. We played the Predator game, which we actually did an interview with Doc Mack about that because it was premiered at. Well, it was a prototype. It was never released, but they found it and they were showing it at MGC. So whenever we interviewed him for this show, which is probably on the Patreon. Actually, I don't remember if it's on the free or the Patreon. I split that episode up into 2, but anyway, we talked to him about that one, and the Predator game was pretty cool. I remember it has that big like skeleton, the skull and the spinal cord like hanging off of it and all that. We played that. There was an Alien game that was a much, much newer one because it had a screen like in the middle of the pinball. So, like how it normally has a screen up top, it has one also in the middle of the playing field so you can see what's going on. And it would show, obviously would show like, scenes from like Alien 1 and 2. And there was a whole lot of Bill Paxton in there, which is great because, he's hilarious. So you get to see a lot of his lines and whatnot. And that was a fun
Game over, man.
Yeah, exactly. That was a fun one too. We played 2 gods.
Did you play the Super Mario Brothers pinball? Was that there?
They didn't have it. No, it wasn't there.
Oh, I've also wanted to try that one.
But we played 2 different Godzilla pinball games. We played the Matthew Broderick 90s Godzilla pinball game, which is pretty hilarious.
Oh, God.
Because it has like this.
Was it Rage Against the Machine?
No, it just has these really bad like Matthew Broderick lines like that are not him, but they're pretending to be him, and they're pretty hilarious.
Do you mean a Ferris Bueller pinball machine or a Matthew Broderick pinball machine?
The Matthew Broderick Godzilla movie.
I'm talking about the shitty Godzilla movie from like 1997 or whatever, where Godzilla like is a lady and like
Godzilla
and like lays eggs everywhere. It's a shitty movie.
The soundtrack was actually pretty good.
Oh well,
there was a Rage Against the Machine song on the soundtrack that you could only get there.
Oh well, for people who like that band, that's cool. But I was a big Godzilla fan, and that movie was the ultimate disappointment. Probably one of the first disappointments I remember
that movie sucked.
as my young life. I remember I bought a T-shirt. I bought a Godzilla T-shirt.
I knew that movie sucked when I watched it.
Yeah, I bought a Godzilla T-shirt from Spencer's Gifts. Was it Spencer Gifts or was it No, it was from Suncoast Movies in the mall. But thankfully, I bought one that had like Japanese writing on it, so it didn't really look like it came from the movie, so I could still wear it and not be embarrassed. Because that movie was really, really bad. But it was I grew up with the original Japanese Godzilla movies and all that, and that movie was terrible. But it was pretty funny that they had a pinball game of it there, and we were playing it, and Jess was like, "This is the Matthew Broderick one, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I guess so." Because right when you started up, it's like, "Look out for those eggs," because there's like because it's like a Lady Godzilla that lays eggs under New York or whatever. It's whatever. But we played the good Godzilla one too. They had the newer one that's based on the Japanese Godzilla, and it's a Stern pinball machine, and it has like clips from the original Godzilla movies, which is really cool. And it's got like Manila and like Gigan and Ghidra and all those people in there. And it has it's got all of them. Like, there's different missions based on different monsters. But it's really really good. And it has like a rumble mechanic to it where it like shakes so much that it shook like the whole building, to make you feel like Godzilla is like, walking around like the big, like, the big like feet stomping and all that. It was really cool. Like, cool. I think
machine that tilts itself.
I think the last time I went to MGC, they were doing a big Godzilla thing. Maybe that was when you were there. There was a big Godzilla.
Because I remember the big Godzilla like inflated.
I think it was because of that pinball machine. But that pinball machine is really, really good. And we had a lot of fun with that. And whenever you get a multi-ball, it plays the Blue Oyster Cult Godzilla song. So you can rock out to that. So that was fun. It's obviously it's a much newer one. It was one of the better ones. But we also played Funhouse. That's an older one that's like pretty legendary. I actually have that on Switch. You can get a digital version of that. But that's the one that has like the giant dummy head in the middle that talks to you like with the little mouth and all that. We played this game called Haunted House, which is an older one, but this one actually had like 3 levels. So you like do the pinball, and then the ball goes under the table, and there's a mini pinball table under the pinball table that you use separate buttons for. And there's also another table on top of the pinball table that you can hit the ball up to, and there's little flippers up there too. So it's like 3 levels. All use
separate buttons. So
yeah, there were 2 buttons. There was one for the regular one, and there's another one for the bottom and the top that are one button. So they're separate. But it was really cool because it's all kind of dark and you don't know it's there, and then you go down and then it lights up, and then there's this little like extra pinball table hidden inside of the pinball table, and you can see the other one up top. And I was like, well, that's really cool.
I think there was an Iron Maiden one I played that was like that.
Yeah, I like the ones that have the different. Yeah, they have the different levels that you can do stuff. I know, like the Pokemon pinball games, they kind of tried to emulate that on the Game Boy one, where there's different stuff different parts that you can go to, and there's boss battles that are kind of like their own table as well. But we played Monster Mash. That's the one with like all the classic monsters. I like those, obviously. Addams Family, that's a classic one as well. We played that. And we played Tales from the Crypt. And we also played the one that Helldivers was based on. The one by the guy who did why can't I remember?
Starship Troopers?
Starship Troopers, yeah. We played the Starship Troopers pinball game also. And it was plenty satirical and all that, and funny. And
is it based off the 90s movie, or is it based off the book?
It's based off the movie, the original movie. The what's his name? Why can't I remember his name? The guy who directed
Philip K. Dick.
No.
Philip K. Dick.
Balverhoven.
He didn't. Yeah. Philip K. Dick did not write that movie. It was Verhoeven.
Balverhoven.
Yeah, the guy who did RoboCop also did Starship Troopers. So it has that same sort of satire and the whole like the government sucks, and it actually kind of became like sort of viral again because we're kind of living in the world of Starship Troopers now. I saw like a bunch of people talking about it. And then you have Helldivers 2 out now, which is 100% Starship Troopers. Like they definitely
which I've not played,
stole a lot. Apparently people love it, and I guess it's pretty cheap too. It wasn't full price, and they doing all their own. It was kind of a smaller company, and they're doing their own like multiplayer and all that. But yeah, that's what we did in Galloping Ghost. So Jess wanted me to let you know. Said John would be proud that we finally used our Galloping Ghost day passes.
So proud.
We made the trek, and we actually went to this restaurant by there called Wow Sushi with 2 O's in there, and had had hibachi afterwards, and it was fun. It was a good place. We got some sake bottles and had some drinks and had some scallops and salmon and whatnot. It was
delicious.
It was a really weird place. It had like animal print on the walls and all this other shit. Just the design of it was really strange. I
blame it on the Brookfield Zoo.
It was like a sushi nightclub or something. That's what Jess was saying. And the last thing of all of my shit is I played more of Slayer's X Terminal Aftermath Vengance of the Slayer, and I love this game. This game's going to be on my top 10 for the year for sure. This game spoke to me more than most games have spoke to me. And I even have an audio thing that I want to play for you, just because the audio in this game is so hilarious. Like the way that the bad guys, the enemies, talk to you is really funny. And there's this one character, let's see, it's called Injecta is what it's called. And it's basically these guys who have a whole bunch of syringes stuck in their head. And they basically run at you and they're like, blah, 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 and they just like, and that's like what they say. And they just like rush you. And it's pretty hilarious. Let me just play you. This is like 20 seconds of just what they say here. I was listening to it and cracking up to it before you guys got on. Did you hear that?
Sounds like Jonathan Davis and the guy from Disturbed.
Yeah,
did all the sound.
It sounds kind of. I mean, listening to it like isolated.
Doing an impression of an engine that
it's like start. Freak out on a leash, and Down with the Sickness, like if they were combined.
I think it's probably supposed to be like inspired by that because, like I said, the idea of the game is that this kid basically, used like a Duke Nukem mod or something like that and made his own game in the 90s and thinks it's the coolest game ever. But it's supposed to be like a bad game, so it's supposed to be a bad game, but it's fucking addictive as hell. Like I think it's fun as hell to play, and even when and sometimes it kind of chugs a little bit on the frame rate, but it doesn't matter because it fits the aesthetic of the game. Like it's supposed to be like this bad first person shooter, but I find it fun as hell and I think it's hilarious. And these guys rush you, and they kind of, I don't know, they remind me of like I don't know, just being like, and they're just like, and then there's like 100 of them just chasing at you, just saying that. Or like whenever you grab like a soda to fill up your health, he'll be like, and he'll like make this noise of like drinking the soda. It's just funny. Like the audio design of it is hilarious. And my nickname earlier saying "You Are Butthole" is there's a level where you go to the Boise, Idaho Fair, the Boise, Idaho State Fair specifically, because your character Zane is from Boise, Idaho, and there is a ride that you can go on called "Your Butthole," but spelled like "You Are Butthole," like with the apostrophe and all that. And you ride on a container of hemorrhoid cream, and you go through. Then you basically go through this ride, and you can ride, and you stand on it. It's like a whole ride, and there's these little shit monsters that you have to fight in the game.
It's a dark ride,
and yeah, it's a dark ride. But there's these shit monsters that you have to fight, and it's just like supposedly, and everything's like brown, and there's little like curly hairs all over the place. It's really gross, but it's supposed to be like you're riding through a butthole or something like that, and
it's like Great Mighty Pooh or Bob's Spicy Meal.
Yeah, kind of, and it's like a. And there's like secret rooms in there. Like I found a couple secret rooms in the butthole ride, but it's just funny. And I like that you can actually get on the rides in the fair. Like there's like a Ferris wheel, there's like a jumpy thing. Oh yeah, there's the spinny puke ride is what it's called. You can get on that, and it just spins a bunch, and there's bad guys on it that are really hard to hit because it's spinning. But it's called the spinning puke ride. And there's like there's one of those like moving ships that like tilts, that's like a spaceship that you can get on. But yeah, they definitely make it look like the state fair. And I finally beat that level. I think I have a couple levels left. I must be sort of towards the end, but yeah, it has like some ridiculously fun levels. I don't know if you remember you remember on The Simpsons, the Bone Storm game, where like Milhouse like plugs it in and he turns it on and his hair's like flying back and the whole room is like flashing. Like that's what I think of. That's my best description of Slayer's X, is just have that gif of Milhouse with his hair blowing back, and that's my impressions of the Slayer's X game. It's very much that. It's what you would think Bone Storm should be, I guess. It's like that sort of thing. And there's a trailer park level where you get to blow up a trailer park and like all this other shit. And there's a video game level. There's a video game inside of a video game where you get the I forget what it's called. You get like the Slayer ring that where you can like fire where you can fire beams out of your hands and all that. Like you get like super overpowered while you're there, and your guy's like, whenever you shoot stuff and all that, and you have to build it up. It's called like your Zoid blood or something like that. But yeah, it's really fun. And I just did a little bit of research on the game, and the character Zane, this guy Zane, he was actually in Hypnospace Outlaw. He's in that game. Like he's a character in that. And then they spun him out of that and made this game. But Zane is also like a fake character. Like you can find Zane on Twitter. Like he has a Twitter account like that's supposed to be the actual Zane from the game. And it's pretty funny. Like I actually tagged him on on the Twitter post of the last on our last episode, just because I wanted to see if he'd respond to it, because he posted like, "Oh yeah, my awesome game is out now, dudes. Like maybe we'll have gyroscopic controls, or maybe not." Like he's got the same attitude that he does like in the game, and I just love that they're just steering into that and still being the Zane character and all that.
Ask him if he'll be a guest. Maybe we can get the character to guest on the show.
I thought about that. If he would be I don't know. That it'd be hard to keep that character through the whole thing. He's just like, "Oh yeah, no, I'm the best, dude. Slayers forever." And also, I got PO'd, which I barely played because that game's really weird and it's really hard. It looks great though. PO'd came out in between episodes. It got like a 7 out of 10 from somebody, Nintendo Life.
Seems like an ancestor to the Slayers game.
Well, but the Slayers game is fun. Like the thing about the problem with the PO'd is I think it's almost like too obtuse. Like it's like the levels are really weird and they're not very detailed. Like it's very simple. You start with like a pan, like a regular cooking pan, and you hit people with the cooking pan, and then you get a chef's knife that you can throw at people. But there's just like really annoying stuff to it. There's like these bats that fly around and throw shit at you that you cannot hit. Like they're really, really hard to hit. And there's like the pathway that you go, there's like it doesn't tell you anything whatsoever. And there's some exits that are hidden inside of walls, and I don't know. I couldn't even finish the first level because you have to jump on these really, really tiny platforms, but there's also arrows shooting at you from both sides and from below you. So I don't understand how to jump to the platform without getting killed by the arrows. So it's like, I don't know. I found it incredibly frustrating, but it runs really well on Switch. There's my review of it. So yeah, but that's that. I guess we could take a break now. If you want.
Break?
After all my blabbering, let's take a break and we'll come back and talk about all of your games and some news.
Hey, you.
It's me, Mario.
Yeah, you. Subscribe to our Patreon to hear our bonus shows, which happen every month.
I'm tired.
Tired of all the big corporate podcasts spoon-feeding you the same old video game news on every single show?
Spaghetti. Ravioli.
Then expand!
Wow!
with NintenDomain Expansion Pack.
It's us talking about old games that were important to us. It's us interviewing people that we meet at conventions. And heck, it's live shows from those same conventions. It's basically everything you could want that NintenDomain ever made.
Here we go!
And it's just $1 a month.
That's less than a bad indie on the eShop.
It's $12 a year, which is less than Nintendo Switch Online.
Thank you so much for subscribing to our Patreon and supporting NintenDomain.
Just go to patreon.com/NintenDomain podcast and, hey, Mario, let go. Whoa! He's throwing us back to the show.
So long, Bowser.
Patreon.com/NintenDomain podcast.
Game over.
Anyway, all right, we're back from the break. Why don't you guys talk about what you've been playing?
John, do you want to go first, or would you rather I did? It doesn't matter to me.
Go ahead, Jimmy.
Cool. So I played a lot of Balatro this week because that's what I play nowadays. But this week I had actually a lot of really good runs. I think the more you play, the more you unlock as far as the special cards go. So you just like become OP a lot sooner. And also you just learn to do a lot of skipping at the beginning. And that's what I did. So I got I can't remember if I finished 2 or 3 times since last week, but I'm almost done unlocking whatever the challenge mode is, because you have to finish with 5 different decks. I think I finished with 3 decks. But the thing is, some of the decks are really cool. And the one that I really like, and the one that I beat the game the first time I played with the deck, was it's all spades and hearts. So you basically have all the suit, you have all the cards, but doubles of each, and only for hearts and spades. So that was really fun. I just leveled up the flush and the full house stuff, and you get this thing called a flush house, which only exists in this game. Also 5 of a kind. You start unlocking these new like tarot cards, because you have these different hands you could play. But I actually got over 1 million in one hand.
Whoa.
This week, because I just I went to endless mode, which I learned, go to endless mode, you can just keep playing forever, and it doesn't affect your anything about the status you've made or anything about the progress you've made. So go ahead and play endless. I guarantee you'll have a fun time. So I kept going, and I made it past 2 or 3 more bosses. But I was literally throwing down these hands that were making me well over 1 million. And it was really cool. The game's so fun.
I would say, what is the point of endless, or is it just to see how much far you could go past when the normal game would end?
I think some of the achievements are there. I think some of the special cards you unlock are there. So they really kind of make it seem like it's extra, but I think it's part of the game. I've sort of figured that out. But you can look at kind of a list of everything you've unlocked, as far as once you buy something in a shop and you have it in your hand, you've unlocked it. So if you see it and you don't buy it, that doesn't count. But every different type of card, it keeps track of it. And so I've almost seen everything in the game as far as the cards go, but when it comes to some of the level ups and stuff, I have not. So I'm kind of interested what is still to happen in this game. But yeah, one of the decks I really like too, and I'm trying to beat it. I haven't beat beaten it with this deck yet, but it has no face cards. So aces actually don't count as face in this.
But they're still in there, so you can do straights and whatnot.
Right, and they also are worth 11 points. So they're still like a high scoring card. Or 10. Yeah, I think they're worth 11. That's how they deal with it. Because all face cards are 10. The ace is 11 because it's a 1 and a 10.
Yeah.
But so you still have those cards in there. You can still add cards to the deck. And it's kind of funny because you can, if you don't pay attention, you'll accidentally acquire Joker cards that are for like, clubs and diamonds. But unless you add those to the deck, they don't exist. So those cards are useless. So you have to pay attention to that. But it's really fun to just create this like OP thing. Like you get the card that lets you like make straights and flushes with 4 cards. And then you also get the card that makes every card count in scoring. And then you make everything a multiplier. And it's just all about like, in-game Castlevania where you're just super OP and you're just chewing through everything. And it feels so good to get that far in this game. And I just keep playing it. I love it. I don't know. I'll keep playing it until I burn out on it, which who knows when that'll happen, but it's I play it every day still. I played it every day for close to a month now.
Does it have a platinum trophy on PlayStation?
Yeah, it does. And I've unlocked a lot of the trophies, but they're so obscure that I won't know what they are unless I actually look it up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, some of them they won't show. I was just curious if you would try to platinum it since you can do that on PlayStation, which is
I will say I've been trying to platinum it, but only because I keep playing it. Like maybe I will eventually platinum it, but I still feel like I've beaten it, but I'll say once I've beaten it with 5 decks and it gives me challenge mode, maybe I'll feel like I actually beat it. But yeah, I play this every day, and some days I only play it 1 or 2 rounds, but a round can last as long as like an hour depending on how it goes. And you just kind of like create your own world as you go with the game, and you never know when you're just gonna like get to this stumper of a level that will just destroy you because it makes all your heart cards like not worth any points, and you're like, oh shit, that's like my whole deck now because that's all I've been doing. Because you can like turn suits into other suits, and you can destroy cards and add cards, and it's so silly. And we've talked about it a lot on the show, so I don't have to talk about much more, but I totally get the appeal of this game, obviously, because it's got its things in my heart deep.
Like, what's your hour count? I know you have it on a couple different systems, but
I have no idea. I don't even know if I want to look.
I think the only one I can see is your Switch one, because even when I look at your PlayStation one, for some reason it won't let me look at your
I play
stuff.
the PlayStation one a lot more because I also play it in bed on the thing, the handheld mode or whatever.
Yeah, you're set on like private or something like that, so it won't let me look at like how much you play games or whatever on a PlayStation. But I think on Nintendo it said you had at least like 30 hours or something like that.
That makes sense.
I
still play it on Switch, but I've made a further path on the PlayStation at this point because, like I said, it is somewhat. You are making progress because you're unlocking more stuff, like cards that'll show up randomly, and some of them are super awesome, especially if you could like convert them into like the bonus cards. And like there's this one that I don't know, there's this one that gives you a plus multiplier like for every hand or something, and if you get that at the beginning of the game, then you could just breeze through the first like 5 or 6 rounds without even thinking about it. And I don't know, I don't know how to explain this game other than saying just play it.
I played it. I haven't played it recently, but I did like it when I played it. I know it was my editing game for a while, and now
my score.
Endless Ocean has been my editing game. So because it's pretty mindless, and I can just kind of go through and just scan fish while I'm editing. But I do want to try to. It's only like $15, and I definitely got plenty of use out of it, and you're getting even more use out of it. And you bought it twice, so you bought like $30.
Yeah,
right?
I bought it twice.
So, but you're obviously getting a ton of hours out of it, so it's fine. Why
I'd be
not?
interested in getting that. I think I would want to beat Inscription first. Similar genre.
This is a similar genre, but this one's a lot more.
I mean, yeah, I think I'd say they're pretty different, right? I mean, I guess they both involve cards, but Balatro seems like
This is just like
much more poker than
deck
story
of cards
or whatever,
and how
Yeah.
poker hands work. Then you're just gonna get this game from the beginning, and then depending on how much you like it, you'll like dig into the different systems. But like for instance, early on I was like, I just want to get all the best jokers. That's all I cared about. So I would just like kind of skip through everything and try to spend my money just on jokers. And I got pretty far, but then eventually I learned, oh no, you actually need to like buy these planet cards to upgrade each of your hands. And then I'm like, oh, I'm going to focus on that. Then I was doing that. I was like, what are these tarot cards? And these tarot cards are the things that are like, just have this random effect on whatever amount of cards they bring out at the time. And then that's a thing. And then also you learn, oh, wait, what's this other thing? Oh, these are these Arcana or not Arcana. They're called Spectral cards. These actually can like change an entire group of cards into a different suit or a different number all at once. And it's just all these like overpowered things that will show up once in a while. And you're like, wait, maybe I should focus on that. Or I should focus on, no, I don't know about that. I don't know. And so it makes every run very different because you're like, what do I do this time around? And if you lean too far towards one strategy, you might get fucked in the first round, or you might do really, really well, but the very last round is, oh, all jokers are disabled or something like that. You're like,
oh yeah,
that's what I focused on the entire game.
Yeah, they can really throw a wrench in it.
It's kind of like it can punch you in the genitals a lot.
Punch you in the crotch.
And there's like a whole thing you can do where you can like re-roll the boss blind, but I don't understand it. I still haven't figured out how that works. So, yeah, I got to figure that out. But I'm going to stop talking about Balatro and I'm going to move on to something else.
It's like our fourth episode of Balatro talk, right? But that means it's a good game because it stays in your mind here, and you keep returning to it.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a game that was made for my brain. My brain and this game just do well together. Attorney, or the Phoenix Wright, or I don't know. I always get confused which one this is, but it's the one that's on PS Plus. It's the one that was like episodic, and I think it was based on the DS games. But I'm still playing that one. I like it a lot. One thing that I have to say, having put more time into it since last week, is that I kind of dislike that if you lose the case, by guessing wrong too many times. You have to go through so much dialogue all over again, and it's a lot. Sometimes it's like 20 minutes to get back to where you were just scrolling through dialogue, and obviously you'll make the correct choices because you know how to
you know what to do,
move it along. But like, to me, it's just so frustrating to where I'm like, sometimes I've even tried to just like do something else at the same time, and they'll accidentally choose the wrong thing. And I'm like, damn it, no, that doesn't work. I have to actually pay attention because I still have to do something, but it's like a thing I've done like 3 or 4 times at this point. So yeah, I'm getting a little I'm getting a little like
frustrated,
turned off to this game. Yeah, but I will say I still love it. Like when it's good, it's great. It's fucking fantastic. It's
makes you get real scared to pick whatever option right towards the end when it gets to
and it's like
when
that,
you know you're gonna
really
have to repeat everything. Yeah,
the character design's wonderful, and like I do love that there's times where I've been like, this is what's gonna happen, and I'm wrong. But there's also times where, like, for instance, not to ruin anything, but like I'm on this level where you're outside of this like trailer on a film set, and there's this
that was my favorite one.
There's this like iron fence, and one of the fence posts is bent. And I'm like, that has to mean something, and it wouldn't let me like select it. It wouldn't let me select it. It wouldn't let me select it. Turns out that's really fucking important, and it's like, oh, I noticed that like early on, but the game didn't reward me for that.
Oh yeah, because you can't do it till it like lets you get to it or whatever. Wait until it's important to the story. Yeah.
but nevertheless, I do think that it's a fun game. I like that, in spite of some of the randomosity of how you have to guess. Like, I don't feel like the logic always makes sense with what you have to present as evidence, for instance.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes you press, and that serves the same purpose as presenting evidence. And that's like, what do? I don't know what to do. And then you don't like, sometimes they don't penalize you for guessing wrong. So like the whole thing just kind of has like a very inconsistent feel, but I still like the story elements. I still like that the characters are consistent from scene to scene, and even from episode to episode at this point, because there's like certain characters that have carried over, and like I like that the characters definitely have like depth to them, and you're getting more depth the more you play. So I'm hooked on it. I'm a little frustrated with the current point I'm on, because I have to go through a lot of dialogue to get back to the spot where I lost.
And you're still on the TV show then, like on that story, or you
the samurai one, yeah,
the samurai TV show.
So how much would you guess they have like updated it or modernized it, since this is like a 15-year-old game or whatever?
I
like,
doubt any. I
They
think
didn't even put any save states or anything like that.
not that I know of. I think they just upgraded. Maybe they like made the graphics HD, but otherwise,
The pictures are different. I mean, the pictures are
they?
like
Okay.
are better. Like if you
I
look
understand that. I think
Yeah.
this was a mobile game that they ported back to the
No.
Switch.
Well, it's a DS game.
it was a Game
But
Boy
it's- but it-
Advance game. The
I
original.
got
Oh,
that
it's
there
Game
was
Boy
a-
Advance
but,
game.
But I think that this version that's on the Switch.
No, this
is
is a
a-
completely different version. It's not the mobile version. It is the trilogy was actually like, I read an interview with the guy like whenever it came out, and I bought it. We talked about it last week. I bought it on the Japanese eShop originally because it came out much earlier than the American one. But it was this particular version was newer. I know there's an iPhone version of this I think is pretty much the same as the DS and the Game Boy Advance versions. But I mean, it's as far as like I'm pretty sure all the pictures are redrawn like in like a more detailed way. But as far as like quality of life stuff or whatever, I don't know anything about that because I never played the original one. I guess I did play. I mean, I did play it on Wii on Wii, which was
Everything about it feels like an old DS game. It's not quality of life.
or Wii U or whatever. Like one of them was available. No, maybe it was on WiiWare. No, I think it was on WiiWare. Anyway, I bought one of them that was the trilogy, and I played it, and I played it on the phone too. But I think it still works the same. Like Jereme was saying, like you still have to go through all the dialogue and all that if you get a game over.
You can't save whenever you want. Like, I guess you could put it in sleep mode, but you can't play anything else. And then it's just like it would be on the DS. Because if you lose, you go back to wherever your last save was, which is the end of a chapter or whatever. Or end of day, I think, is how they do it in this.
So that's unfortunate that you still have to.
But,
so,
whatever. It's still fun, and I like it. And,
but it
and I
looks
didn't
pretty.
pay for- I guess I
looks nice.
did technically pay for it, but it's part of my PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, you got it for your whatever you call it, the equivalent of whatever that Xbox thing is called.
It's like
Game Pass. It's the Game Pass. But that's about. I mean, Game Pass is like $15 a month, right? And what do you pay is probably close to that because the baseline is like $10 a month, right? For PlayStation Plus. I don't know what.
I think I'm around 10 a month because I like bought a year at a time or whatever.
Oh yeah, so maybe you save something on it. I'm about ready to drop mine because I never play my PlayStation 4, and I don't play any of the free games. So I mean, it's like I was gonna get rid of that PS Plus.
I see why you would not want to do that, but one of the reasons I am glad I didn't, besides Ace Attorney, is Animal Well, which I must say, prepare yourself for a few puns.
Uh-oh.
I have fully fallen down this game.
Is that a pun?
It's an abundant repository that quenches my thirst for Metroidvania and Twitch-based puzzles. It keeps getting better. Its stone walls are round. I don't know. I was trying to make another pun, but I ran out. No, but seriously though, this is a good game. This is a
So you figured it out, or you figured out that water puzzle that we were talking about last week. I'm sure you put a lot more hours into it.
Well, here's what actually happened. I'd already solved that puzzle. It just didn't give me the right, or it gave me some sort of like thing, but I didn't notice it. So I'd already solved that puzzle, and I was going back to that same room trying to solve something that was already done.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so you already got it. Because I kind of, like I said, that kind of was what happened to me. Like, it just sort of, it like filled up that one thing, and then a door opened, and I sort of did it by accident. And I was like, oh, okay, that's what that is. But I haven't played it. I haven't really played it since last week. I played a little bit of it when I was editing, but it was kind of, I don't know. I tried to go back to where the slinky thing was and I needed to use it, but I didn't save, so I went all the way back to where I was because I wasn't sure if I was supposed to go there or not. Anyway, I didn't get very far. But you did, and you've played more.
Yeah, I crawled into that bucket, had someone lower me down, and I just really explored the depths this week. No, I beat it. I saw credits.
Nice.
It actually happened right before we started recording, and it was one of the reasons I was late, actually, because I was reading the credits, which were mostly just the name.
It's just
Billy Balatro because I play so much Balatro, but it's something else.
I say it's just Billy Basso, right? Just over and over again.
Billy Basso, that's it. Billy Basso.
Billy Basso and Donkey.
There's not much. There's actually a lot more people, but mostly based on the not distribution, but the publishing side of things, and then probably there's a whole bunch of people that were brought in for game testing and stuff, because the puzzles are really complicated in this, not in the sense that they're complicated on a logical level, but they're complicated in the sense that there's a lot of moving parts. The game's smart enough to let you do things in different ways. So yeah, this game's really good. I don't think I've actually beat it because I've essentially gotten to New Game Plus where things are different, but not that much different. I don't know, but it's the same thingy. So yeah, I don't want to ruin anything. All I have to say is I saw credits and I felt good about it. I felt really accomplished. It was hard. The last few levels, if that's what you want to call it, that the last few zones I had to navigate were pretty tough. And I think it was I really definitely wanted to mention this game has the same sort of bizarreness as something like Eastward. It reminded me of the bizarre nature of that and the art and stuff. At the same time, it also reminded me of Undertale. It's very much like Undertale, and I think it'd be silly if they didn't acknowledge that Undertale was an influence, because it definitely felt that way. But ultimately, this game was just, I don't know. This game is a Metroidvania of all puzzle solving.
What part of it is like Undertale? I'm just curious, because Undertale is a lot of it's humor. It's written humor, and there's not really any dialogue in this game per se. Is it the
to
sprite?
me, the Undertale, I think it's the sprite work and it's the aesthetic, because Undertale was mostly monochromatic, but it would get colorful at times, and this game does the same thing for effect. Also, it's atypical fighting of bosses. In Undertale, you're kind of doing a bullet hell sort of thing, and you can, it's an RPG, but it's not really, because it presents itself as a separate screen. You've played it, it's its own system.
Oh, Undertale, yeah.
That is within the framework of that.
I played it briefly.
Within the framework of this being a Metroidvania, it's actually I don't know. I guess, to be honest, though, it would be fair to liken it, a lot of the scenes, to running away from the bots. What were they called again? The Ava.
The Emmy?
Not Emmy. I want to call them the Ava. The Emmy.
the Evangelions.
Yeah, the ones that would just stomp on the entire temple and crush you.
Yeah.
No, it was like running away from the Emmy. That's most of the bosses of this game are about avoiding them. And
I think I thought I had an Emmy amiibo up there. It's upstairs, though.
Oh no, I remember now. The other game I wanted to compare it to is actually, why did I forget the name of it? I know the game I'm talking
Fez?
about. The cat. No, the cat Metroidvania.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Roboto.
Gato Roboto.
Yeah.
This game feels a lot like Gato Roboto. Like the spirit of it. It's like seriously, it's like Gato Roboto, Undertale, and I don't know, probably Super Metroid all got together and made a game of their own like ideas that weren't necessarily all good, but at the end the package worked out pretty good.
In the end, you were pretty happy about it.
I was happy about it. There's a lot of really frustrating stuff in this game, but
I heard the bosses were, most of the people said they could be a little annoying because of the way you have to handle them. That's what I heard.
Exactly. That's exactly it. And the thing is, though, you have a lot of tools at your disposal, and you do have different options for how you approach each thing. And I will say, I did not ever consult anything online to get me through this game. I figured it all out 100% by myself. Yes, I did find out like you could ride on the Frisbee or whatever because people were talking about it.
I talked about it last week.
So like that's a thing that like I definitely found out. But as far as like anything else, like there is some stuff I did in some of the puzzles that was like, I don't feel like this should be allowed, but the game let me do it, and it made it so much easier. So like I felt like I was like cheating the game. Obviously I wasn't. Obviously the game's just letting me.
It wants you to do that.
Do it my own way.
Yeah, the
but
sequence break.
It was really, really cool. And it reminded me of the original adventure from Atari. I don't want to ruin anything, but I really felt like it felt like the original adventure from Atari. This moment. And yeah, I played that game when I was a kid. It was, at least a decade old by the time I played it, but it was, I'm pretty sure it was the first game I ever beat. If not, it was up there, but yeah, that dragon that moves around the map. That's the way all the like bosses, well, most of the bosses move in this game, where they're like, they continue existing even though you've left the room, and they're moving across the map, and walls don't matter to them. There's just some certain things you can do in this game where you can like exploit that fact. So I had a lot of fun with it. I screamed at the screen. I cussed. That's also what I feel is a mark of a good game.
Or makes you care enough to do that.
And I saw the credits tonight, and yeah, this is going to be on my Game of the Year, at least the consideration for my Game of the Year list. But I think it's already in the top 10 for sure.
Oh, will you give it a second run? Because I know last week you said you were already kind of forming your own idea of how you would go through it on your second time through.
So here's the thing. When I said I was sort of on New Game Plus, I'm not really, but that's why I'm it's the best way I can describe it. But I don't know. I don't know about a second run. I think I've been presented with more things that I can do. I think the game has more to offer. So I'm going to keep playing it. I just know I've seen the initial credits, but the post game is supposedly pretty deep and like cast aspersions on what I may have thought the beginning game meant. And this game was meant to be like discussed for a while. So I'll play it, but will I play it like I played it this last week? No. I will be playing it a lot less. I will be just sort of just kind of like visiting it every few days probably to see what I can do. But I got through that last boss. That last boss was rough, but I did it. So I feel pretty accomplished. And that's my stuff for this week.
Hooray. You did it. Well, somebody else has some beats too, I believe.
I do. Yep. So I beat two games that were a long time on my list, my backlog. Manifold Garden was the first one. I beat these both in the same day, by the way.
Nice.
Manifold Garden was the first one. And overall, like I've said a lot about this game the past couple of weeks. Overall summation, it's a simple concept, beautifully designed, and it gradually escalates It's a very memorable climax, satisfying climax. And you remember Roger Ebert used to make big stink about video games aren't art, and I think like if anyone ever makes that argument again, make them play this game. It's like the perfect counterpoint to that. I feel like there's a lot of game designers who try to make their games more artistic, like to elevate their games to become art. And I feel like this game was sort of the inversion of that, where it's like an artist is trying to make their art into a game, to improve their art by making it become a game. It is like an art exhibit made into a game. It's just a very fun game, very well designed game, very memorable, and there's really no experience quite like it. I said it before that Portal's kind of a cousin or whatever to this game, but that's not even really. It's like I don't know. I don't have any other direct comparison for this one. I love this game. Very memorable. Go play it.
It's like MC Escher sort of.
It's like an abstract walking sim.
Yeah. Abstract walking sim.
There's like platforming too, right?
Platforming, correct. So yeah, you got it. It's like imagine an MC Escher drawing made into a puzzle game where all the platforms repeat and extend infinitely. And so you have to think about, like, you might be standing on one platform, need to get to this other platform that's way up above you and 100 feet ahead in the distance, and there's no jumping in this game. How are you going to get to this? Well, all you do is just walk forward and you fall, and you continue holding forward, and you'll see that platform that was above you. Now you look down and it's below you and it's coming, but you're still 50 feet out from it, but you just keep holding forward. You just keep falling, seeing that same platform passing you by.
And then the fall damage kicks in.
The fall damage is just brutal. You just explode when you hit. No. Zero fall damage.
Oh, I should buy it then, because I hate fall damage so much.
Zero fall damage.
I want every game to not have fall damage. It's so annoying.
Zero fall damage.
There is no fall damage in Animal Well.
I don't think there is in Slayer's X either. in Terminal Aftermath. At least I haven't. I haven't exploded yet from falling.
And of course, you have to rotate, change gravity. It's the sort of central trick of it, is changing gravity, so that gravity could,
as one is allowed to do. Yeah.
One is one to do. Yep. You could. So what was ahead of you, straight in front of you, press the R button. Now all of a sudden, what was ahead of you is
beneath you,
gravity, and you fall, and then you fall. But it's. I don't want to
suddenly
say
my goal is my chasm.
It's true. It's not quite like rotating the world. It's more like changing what side of the
direction
world
you fall.
Gravity. Correct.
Which we've seen that some first party NES game.
It's like the new
Nintendo games, but maybe not in 3D sense. But
it's the new version of Metal Storm, the NES game where you could change the gravity, but now it's in 3D.
I did not consider that. I was looking for a comparison for this game. I did not consider that it was like Metal Storm.
Metal Storm is a good game.
That's a really good comparison, though.
You can change gravity. I mean, it's just up or down, but still you can do it.
The other game that I beat,
gravity works.
The other game that I beat this week is Ori and the Will of the Wisps. This one was
about time.
You beat Ori game.
Well, so if anybody who's listening to this remembers, John, you promised to beat this game. I think this is when Jereme was on the trip still, when it was just us two. You promised this like 2 or 3 times in a row, and you were like, you know what, I'm done promising. And I was like, oh well, there went Ori and the Will. I didn't think you were ever going to get through it after that, but I'm glad you came back to it. And did you get all the percentage? Because you were really trying to finish out the maps and all that.
Yeah, I got the percentage, so I figured out what was that was what hung me up, because it was just like I had 100% on every area of the game except for 2, where I had 96%, and at the same time on the map, I got a a special rune that will like show if there's something there to collect. If you have something left to do, it would light up, but there was nothing lit up. So I was like, this must be a bug or something. There's nothing lit up, but it says I have 96% left, and I still have 4% on those two areas to go. So I was just frustrated. Yeah, I had gotten to the end boss. Boss was waiting for me, but I just didn't want to beat it without 100% coming so close and then missing 8% of the map, whatever. And so finally, I dug my heels in after I beat Manifold Garden, and it was still early in the afternoon, like 5 o'clock or so. I was like, well, let me give one more go and see what's up with Ori. And so I ended up searching on Reddit for anyone else who had this similar problem. And there was a situation on Reddit that sounded a lot like what I was going through, and turned out to be totally applicable. What happened was there are these trials sporadically throughout the game where you'll see a door and you open up the door and go inside. Now it's like remember, in the Zelda games, how there's always like an enemy rush mode, not a boss rush, but there's just random enemies coming at you for 20 minutes, whatever. There's something like that in the Ori games. And I had beaten both of these. I'm like, well, I beat both of these already. I knew I beat both of these. But it turned out that I just simply forgot, or rather didn't notice, that I had to still pick up the gem, the reward that I got for beating the things.
Oh, shit.
They were just like hanging out there. I went to both areas, and there's like this glowing
so it's
orb
still
that
there.
I just forgot, still there, that I just never picked up.
Oh well, at
So
least
you didn't have to like go through
there.
the fight again.
Yeah, at least you
Still
didn't have
there,
to redo it. I
didn't have to redo either one of them, but the orb, kind of the way the graphics looked, it kind of blended into the background. Like no one would fault anyone for skipping over these, because it just kind of like they didn't really stand out in any spectacular way. So I picked those up, then I went and beat the boss, which took a good, I'd say probably 20, 30 minutes. It was a good, challenging boss fight, really fun. And man, this game just, just like the first one, I thought it was just a beautiful, emotional experience, a really satisfying climax, end of the story. It's another one of these quality stories where your enemy has a story of their own that makes you a bit sympathetic toward them. Yeah, and just, man, the Ori games, they're like, what if Disney and Ghibli collaborated to make a game, they would make something like Ori. I say like Ghibli.
I felt strong Ghibli vibes.
Totally.
I should say vines also, but
there were a lot of vines
from playing Ori.
I saw the Ghibli vines on there. They were drawn the same way as in the Ghibli movies.
It looks to me like the characters were designed by Ghibli, with like really fantastic creative designs, but then perhaps like gone through a Disney filter, sort of softened things up around, made it more family friendly and
made the eyes rounder.
Eyes rounder, yep, more cutesy a little bit. But and that's not even a critique in any kind of way. That's just like, oh, these two things, they work really well together, blended together. And whereas Ori kind of looks like Stitch from Lilo and Stitch a little bit. There's that too. Animation, fantastic. Again, Ghibli and Disney, just like the detail. So for instance, like, Ori will move and stretch to accentuate your actions, which makes controlling the character even more satisfying, because it provides some actual feedback, not only just like making it visually beautiful, but it's actually practically useful to someone who's playing the game.
Does the Ori change shape?
Doesn't change shape so much, but it's just the classic cartoon bend and stretch. That kind of stuff. Yep. Like, so when you're falling, if you fall more than one screen, you'll see Ori will start to stretch more, just to like indicate speed and danger, you know. And so like when you're able to catch yourself along the cliffside and then like sort of scramble to a stop just before you fall off, you know, the edge of the cliff or whatever, it's just more satisfying. It's like, oh, I did it, you know. You like bounce off the edge of the cliff and then land on that narrow platform that you were aiming for the whole time after falling half a mile. And it's just like, I accomplished that. Cool. And all that is more satisfying because the animation is so detailed. You see the falling, the stretching, the scrambling to hold on to the side of the cliff, and then the leap off at the last second, and then you landed, and then whew, you know, all that is just so detailed, so beautifully animated. The score to go right along with it too. The score is like really lush and beautiful and emotional. And
Did you get a pretty high score?
I got the high score. Yes.
Sorry.
The music
That's
score.
an easy joke.
The music score.
Sorry.
It's just like really warm and full. It's fully orchestrated, and it gets like really thunderous and scary when it needs to. But then,
does it adapt to the action, or is it kind of section to section?
It adapts to not to the action so much, but section to section, and then it's not really the kind of game where like it needs to. Not like, you know, you're not going to get in like a random car chase or something, or where things need to speed up, or you know, like in the Hitman games when you're sneaking around, all of a sudden it gets you know, sneaky music or whatever. The whole thing is so well designed and curated. It's like every section has an appropriate score, and then there's certain cinematic moments which each have their own unique score, their own unique animations. There's stuff that you're going to see in there just one time. Like at the end of the boss battle, at the final boss battle, after Ori's given their all, you know, there's a little moment where you're moving forward, you're guiding him, but they're like, they don't have any more to give. Like kind of going along.
The microphone clicks in and you have to start clapping.
Come on, you can do it.
That'll be on Switch too.
Take your bell.
Or E3. Whenever there's a microphone on there.
Well, like, so I was feeling in the moment. So I was like, I don't want to rush through this. I'm feeling like Ori. I kind of want to guide Ori slowly, whatever. So I stopped, and it was just one little motion. When I stopped, Ori put their hand up on a nearby rock to rest. I'm like, that's beautiful. Like, that's just the little details like that just totally make this game.
Come on, dude. I actually am alive. Sony had this AI technology. Can you just like win this game already? Thanks.
Yeah. It kind of reminded me like, just an overall, like a beautiful dark fantasy kind of game. Like I got some Black Cauldron vibes. Remember that Disney movie Black Cauldron, kind of like that.
So this was Microsoft, right? This wasn't Sony. This was like an Xbox.
Yeah, it was an Xbox Studios game. Moon Studios is the main company that put it out, but it was an Xbox exclusive. Yep. As far as being a sequel, you know, just great sequel. It improves on everything from the first one. Controls better. You know, map size. It's a much bigger game. It adds this whole other Zelda element, which wasn't in the first game, where you're like,
do you start with your previous
stuff.
abilities, or do you have to like get them again?
I think you start with the previous abilities, as I recall. It's been a long time since I played the first one, but I think I remember just starting with most, if not all, of what I had. The control scheme is different in this one, so there's different things you can do at the outset, and I think it's much improved over the first one. But I do believe you'd start with some, if not all, of your skills. Yeah, great game. I can't recommend it enough. It goes on sale a lot for like $6, and man, that's an absolute steal.
Yeah, I've saw it on sale a lot.
Yeah,
I have
definitely.
Ori, the first Ori. I don't have the sequel.
Oh, you got the first one?
Yes.
Is it on PlayStation Extra?
I have not
was
played
gonna
it.
ask that.
No, I have it on the Switch.
Oh, okay.
I bought it when it came out.
Yeah, absolutely worth it when you're in the mood for a really emotional, great detailed Metroidvania. I thought it was a fantastic game. Love it. So something very odd and coincidental happened. Right, I beat Ori, and then I was watching the credits. I was like looking at the credits. I'm like, that name. I just saw that name in the credits of Manifold Garden. This guy named Lucas Donkers is his name.
That's why you remembered it, because, I mean...
That's why I remembered it, because it's
Donkers.
It's a standout
It's
name.
Donkers.
It's a standout name.
I mean, how would you forget Donkers? I mean, if I saw, like,
Yeah.
I'd be like, what a weird
Like-
name. And then you see it, you're like, oh my God, there's again.
I say
just
Mikowski would like be forgotten over Donkers.
But I just saw this guy's the game that I just beat 2 hours ago. He was also credited on this one. I had to double check it. I looked on Moby Games. We can see credits of everybody who's it's kind of like IMDb for video games, right? This is one. These are 2 of 7 video games that he has credits on so far, and I beat both of them back to back. So thanks, Lucas. Appreciate your efforts on Manifold Garden and on Ori.
It's like a side
Wisps.
quest you took on. And you've got 2 out of 7.
Yeah.
Now you got to play Dandara and Sword and Soldiers too. I think those are on Switch.
Oh,
I
those other
do
games?
own Dandara.
I have it
I've
too.
played through it.
I have it on Switch too.
I don't even know if I've ever opened it.
It's a Metroidvania game too. I
But
played.
you
I
like
played a little bit of
just go from place. You don't actually move. You like go from place to place, right?
it.
Something
Yeah,
like
there's
that.
some sort of like
mechanic.
some sort of hook, whatever hook shot sort of dealy that you do.
So quickly, I got Flat Heroes. Finally bought that game, the one that
About
I talked
damn
about for a long
time.
I know.
I've been pushing you on that game since you first joined the podcast. I was like,
Yeah.
hey, this game is dirt cheap. Get it already, because you really like. I remember you really liked that demo.
I like the demo. Yeah, well, I think I got it like it was 2018. So I think all that I had on the Switch at that point was like Zelda, Rocket League, and Odyssey, and maybe a handful of other games. But yeah, so I downloaded the demo and I enjoyed the demo a lot. After that, I just didn't buy it for whatever reason. So it was on sale again for $2, and I said, "All right, now or never. Let's do it."
Yeah, it's been dirt. It's been dirt cheap many times. Yeah, it came out in August of 2018. Yeah, it was back in the day when maybe there weren't as many Switch games. Now there's millions.
Yeah, it's a fun game. It's arcade style. Quick twitch action, lots of short levels thrown at you, one after another. No plot or anything to it. You're a dot, and you just dive around the level. You dodge projectiles until they're done throwing projectiles at you. Then you move on to the next level, and there's boss fights. Boss fights get pretty creative. And yeah, it's a simple concept, simple graphics, but just fluid, fun gameplay. $2. I recommend it. Last thing I got the RetroArch emulator for the Apple TV.
You got it.
I got it. Yep,
I didn't know you had Apple TV.
What
Maybe
is
you've
that?
talked about it before.
I do. I've got an Apple TV.
So they brought the emulator. So I saw the front end.
Mhm.
RetroArch was on.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I mean, I looked at the link.
It was on the shop last week for the iPhone. But to me, like I think I mentioned it on the show. It's like it's a front end or whatever. It's like it's basically an environment for emulators, but you could put whatever you want in there.
Yep.
But
And I have
having it released for Apple TV is pretty awesome.
pretty enticing. Yeah, and I have not applied any games to it yet. I just downloaded it, and there was a little bit of a process to get a game on there
Okay.
because it's on an Apple TV, which doesn't have it's not really.
you don't
Not
have
You
a
can't put
computer,
like
it's
an
only
SD
kind of a
card or
computer.
something in it.
Yeah.
But I mean, can you download stuff off of websites like you would? Like that's how I get all my ROMs is through you can't go to the you can't
No.
Google, you can't like search in the bar like
I don't even
Like
think there's
Mario Brothers ROM, and you can't get it in that way.
I don't even think there's a
Is there a
web
browser
on there
even?
per se. I don't think so.
No,
I don't think they want you to use it like a computer.
it's a TV.
Now they
It's
got
in the
that
name.
emulators. Yep. So yeah, I got to figure out how to put games on it. The interface is a little obtuse. It just looks a lot like it's like programming language and stuff in there, and so I don't know. I got to figure it out. But more on that later.
I would like to know more about because like RetroArch on the Apple TV is essentially you could start playing like all these obscure ROMs on your TV.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a try. So
You don't even have to
Polygon.
like worry about like doing a TV out or something. Like it natively will run off your Apple TV.
You don't have to remote it
And-
or whatever.
Can't you just
Yeah.
use like Bluetooth controllers with that?
You can use Bluetooth controllers. Yeah, you can use 8-bit though with it, which I've
Holy
used.
shit! You could play like Saturn games and stuff. That's
You
so
could, yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said you had used. I remember you saying you'd used your 8-bit before with the Apple
Yeah.
TV.
That
according to
is incredible.
Yeah, I think it's I've not even really scratched the surface, but this Polygon article seems to imply that this is a big deal. So the title of the article is "Your Apple TV may have become one of the best retro gaming devices out there overnight." Subtitle is RetroArch brings a whopping 78 emulators to the Apple TV.
Whoa! You can emulate everything.
Yep.
You can play Pico.
I say even you can even play the Stadia on there. Maybe, probably not.
Tell me what you think about the Ouya. Ouya.
Got to play the Wonder Swan on there on your TV.
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, I'll dig in and I'll let everybody know what I think later.
Cool. Well, let's go to our news segment.
News. Don't snooze or you miss the news.
Let's do the news. So I wanted to say the games releasing this week. We got a couple big ones. Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, the remake, is actually out right now. This whole like Thursday release thing is really is really fucking me up. Yeah, no, I have it because I bought Nintendo vouchers to get Princess Peach Showtime, so I got it for free, quote unquote. I mean, I bought it a long time ago, and I was saving my voucher for that game.
You bought it
And I
in the past.
I got it for $50. Anyway, it's downloaded. I pre-loaded it last week. It's on there. Yeah, I don't like this whole Thursday thing because my whole thing was I edit on Thursday, and then I play it Thursday night after I'm done editing. So we'll just have to try to get done quicker so we can play Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. That's what I have to do. But also, this one's kind of interesting. I didn't really hear much about it, but I find it really interesting. The Wizardry, like one of the original, pioneers of role-playing games, is getting a remake from Digital Eclipse, coming out the same day as Paper Mario. So I mean,
it's actually like the original Wizardry is coming out.
it's
on
like the
Switch.
it's like the Wizardry game.
Holy shit!
Yeah, right.
This was what made RPGs better in Japan, right? Like
Wizardry was it was one. I mean, yeah, most games, like I think even like Dragon Quest was modeled after Wizardry in its own way. Like Wizardry was a hugely influential game. And I'm just kind of like, holy shit, this is coming to Switch, and it's getting remade by Digital Eclipse, which, they're very well known for doing very good remakes and all that. It's like $40. I'm not going to throw $40 on it, but I'm really curious to see what people think of it because, I mean, for me, looking at like an old...
I would like to watch a playthrough.
Yeah, looking at an old RPG like this, it automatically makes me kind of scared that it's just going to beat the shit out of me, and I'm not going to know how to play it. It's like trying to play Baldur's Gate 1 or something, But
I picture it being
which
like
I have, and I've
the
tried to
first-person
play.
stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, Wizardry. I was like, holy shit, that's coming out now? And Digital Eclipse? What the fuck? So yeah, I'm really interested to see what people say of that, or when they play it, because that's a big game. Influenced, like probably every RPG you ever liked was influenced by Wizardry in some way. So there you go, coming out to Switch like this week. Also, we got some updates. The big update, which I tried, but I guess it wasn't out yet. The Suika game is getting the online expansion It's actually coming out on Thursday. I thought it was yesterday because my Suika game actually updated itself. And I was like, oh, the online must be on there. So I jumped on there and I tried to do it a couple times. But I did just fuck around with it and I got the watermelon again. Like I just did it right there without even trying. So it happened 2 times. Got 2 watermelons. But yeah, no, I'm really interested to see what Suika Online is. And that's supposed to be out tomorrow.
Same.
So,
and Sean and I were talking about it tonight, and I was like, Suika is adding an online mode. Like, because you posted it on Slack. And Shauna was like, isn't it always online? I was like, what do you mean? She's like,
like leaderboards?
No, she was like, you have to be on like the Switch Online to play it and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, you're right about that, actually. But still, no, this is something else. Because we haven't played much of the 2-player mode, but this will be supposedly you can play like 2-player mode with random foes online.
Supposedly, yeah, it should be an online 2-player mode. Like I said, I tried to do it.
I'm excited.
I tried to do it yesterday, but I was wrong on the release date. I guess it's coming out on the 23rd, which is Thursday. So I definitely want to try it out. But I still just played it again and got a watermelon. But I mean, what I thought maybe she was talking about it being always online is it always has a leaderboard. So you can always see what the highest scores are and all that. So
she meant that.
So
she also meant the fact that she has to be like on her online Switch, which I get.
Oh, because I was going to say,
we did play it.
You don't necessarily need
it, like,
Nintendo Switch
offline.
Online to play it or anything like that. You can play
exactly.
it
We played that when we were on our van trip.
Yeah, you don't need a connection or whatever.
Well, she played it. I didn't really play it.
Yeah,
but she played it on the Switch offline. So no, I just was kind of explaining like, no, this is like the 2-player mode we don't ever play. But,
yeah, I'm curious because you said it was like 2-player mode was like 2 single players next to each other. So is that what the online's going to be?
Well, it does have like garbage blocks, which I don't understand, but I think it has like a similar Tetris Attack aesthetic where you're like dropping garbage on the other person, but they can turn it into like giant combos.
Sure. Also, Dave the Diver is getting Godzilla DLC, which is pretty huge.
It's actually the Matthew Broderick Godzilla.
Yeah, it's that one. It's the which I think they don't even. Yeah, that one. No, I'm excited about that. I should go back to playing Dave the Diver. I really barely even dipped into that game. I know Jereme got a lot more in there, but that's pretty huge to get the Godzilla license. They won't even release fucking Godzilla -1 in America, but they put Godzilla DLC on Dave the Diver, so whatever. I don't know, just touring it. Everybody's doing it. It's a great movie. I finally saw it, but no,
I want to see it.
They won't release it here, but I have it if you want it.
So is it a fan translation or does it have like native English?
No, it's from the Blu-ray. It's from the Japanese Blu-ray.
So it has like subtitles in English.
Yeah. No, I read an article saying that the Godzilla -1 is it has like the most illegal downloads since Game of Thrones, since the original Game of Thrones season.
I do want to see it
because they won't.
I didn't realize it was so hard to acquire. Now I want to see.
They never released it here digitally for I don't know why. It was never released digitally. You can buy a Blu-ray of it, but you have to have a VPN and you have to like use Amazon Japan and buy it through that, or you can buy it digitally through that. But you have to live in Japan to get it. It's really stupid.
Aren't DVDs and Blu-rays still like PAL versus like?
Not necessarily. Well, I don't know. There was that Blu-ray place that I would go to at the Japanese grocery store that we would go to. And
we're probably past that.
And I bought Blu-rays from there that were Japanese with American subtitles on them. And I think that was the first time I bought Shin Godzilla, which I still think is a better movie than -1, but -1 was still good. But you can watch Shin Godzilla, which is awesome if you haven't.
I want to see -1. Maybe I'll watch it when I hang out with you.
But Shin Godzilla was made by the guy who created Evangelion. That's why it's so good. But also there's an Endless Ocean update which fixed whatever the problem was, I guess, in there. Which I haven't gotten to that yet, but I don't really care about the mystery board. I just like to still look at fish, so I'm still playing in that game.
You just want to swim around and look at fish.
Yeah, that's the point. If I was obsessed with getting to the end of it, I could understand why it would frustrate you, but I'm not. I just like relaxing and playing it.
You're just like an endless stream of fish.
Well, I looked at the cover. The cover said Endless Ocean. I didn't want it to end. It says Endless right there. It's
Endless
the cover.
fish stream.
Yeah, I like to look at fish. There's a fish in there that was considered the creator of life originally. I found that. The giant whale mother. It's pretty cool.
Sean and I may go to the San Diego aquarium for our mini honeymoon this fall.
For a mini moon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm into fish.
Sure.
Mostly she is, but I am too.
Fish are cool. I like them too. Oh yeah, we should talk about the thing that I talked about at the very top of it. And Nintendo bought Shiver. Shiver was one of the companies that ported Mortal Kombat 1 to Switch and 11 too, right? Because I always think of Saber Interactive as the main one, because Saber Interactive also did that other one, The Witcher 3.
But they're basically a place that adapts stuff to the Switch, right?
Shiver? Yeah. Well, I mean, they worked with Saber Interactive for Mortal Kombat 1 and 11. But, I mean, it was so apparently, Embracer, as we kind of knew, when they bought all this shit and didn't know what to do with any of it, some of it seems to be, coming off of it now, or they're selling stuff because they realized that they were idiots and they just bought a bunch of shit and didn't know what to do with any of it. There was even IGN was, I think John posted on the Slack, IGN was even buying some websites that were taken by Embracer, hopefully not to shut them down, to try to save some of the workers and all that, because you know how these acquirings go, they acquire it and fire 1,000 people or whatever. So
well, it's about eliminating competition.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Right. I think all this stuff went for cheap. People are asking, why did Nintendo pick up this random studio that has kind of a hitter record?
I think that might be a monolith, another monolith scenario where they've got their shit and
they
know how to adapt stuff.
I mean, think about it. Yeah, they did Mortal Kombat 1 got shit when it was originally released, but I have Mortal Kombat 1 playing behind me right now, and I actually really like this game because they fixed it. They patched the hell out of that game, and it plays great now, and it loads pretty quickly. And,
I doubt it.
Well, you can play it when you get here if you want to actually learn how good it is. No, it's great now. Watch Switch Up did many videos on how good it is now compared to when it was released. Actual, whatever industry, whoever the fucks say it's good, but I say it's good too because I own it and I've played it. But I'm just saying they've done great things, and I think that Nintendo swooped them up because they want to have a company under their belt for Switch 2 to just help them with ports to that system that's coming.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like some monoliths off, acquiring,
take them under the wing and help them bring bring whatever.
What was the company
that
Luis mentioned? Put them out or whatever,
That's next level, right?
It makes sense. Yep. Yeah, it makes sense that they're
it's the same people that did the soccer game.
Yeah,
they also probably got an incredible deal on this because Embracer was desperate and they're selling off lots of stuff.
They're pretty desperate.
I think
it's a shame they didn't get Saber Interactive also, but I think Saber Interactive became their own thing, right? And didn't they split off of it and became their own company from Embracer? I think is what I heard. So
I didn't hear that.
But regardless, good for them. I mean, like I said, just the fact that Mortal Kombat 1 came to wouldn't even go to PlayStation 4. It was only on 5 and the Xbox Series, but it still ended up on Switch too. I think it was kind of a miracle port there that it even existed on there, in its own way. So I'd say, Nintendo takes them under their wing. They can. They could be the next Monolith Soft, and maybe they want, for whatever their next system is, whatever specs it has, they can help them port a bunch of shit that already exists for X or PS5 or whatever to the next system. I think is what they're going for there. And with Nintendo's help, they can make it better. Maybe they would make the initial launch, be better than what happened with Mortal Kombat 1 and all that. So it could be where it is now at the beginning or something like that. They could, help them out.
Maybe these folks will be involved in the new Smash.
Sure. Or whatever, And I guess this is sort of old news, but it's affecting me now because I got Amazon gift cards and I can't use them. But for some reason, Nintendo and Amazon are kind of severing their ties to each other.
They're beefing.
Oh yeah, they're beefing. Well, actually, I did see a bunch of people online got their their pre-sales canceled through Amazon for like Paper Mario and stuff like that. So I guess it goes farther than the cards. But I noticed
That
that
was actually why you're. I was trying to send you a birthday package and it got canceled because
it was Nintendo related.
I was trying to send you an Amazon card. Yeah.
Because I tried to, so I got some Amazon, I got some Amazon credit from one of my sisters, and I was like, I figured I'd just grab a eShop card, and then I noticed that all of the digital ones are completely unavailable now, and I saw a article on it last week or a couple weeks ago, and I didn't really think that much of it, but yeah, they're all gone now, and I was trying to even like buy like a physical card, and it wouldn't let me use my Amazon credit for that either. So I'm like, what the hell? What the hell's going on here? So it kind of pissed me off. I was like, all right, well, I guess I'll just let it sit there until I decide to order another thing, and that'll be what it's for. Normally when I get, gift cards or whatever, I just throw it to the eShop, and that was the thing, like if you get like Shauna was talking about while we were there, like a vanilla gift card or something like that, you could put it on, you could throw it straight to Amazon, and you could use all of your money because it doesn't really charge as much tax or whatever for it. Like, so if you got a $20 card, you could get like a $20 eShop card, and you wouldn't have extra change or whatever left over. That's what I would normally do. But yeah, it's shit's weird there, so that sucks.
It does.
Yeah. So that's
on shit sucks.
So that's that. Is there any extra news on there? I don't that you want to talk about? Let me check the Slack real quick. Let's see if I'm forgetting anything. I mean, we could talk about that Minecraft thing from 5 years ago. Let's not. I mean, that's like 7 years ago. I don't even know what that is.
I will say I did put Minecraft on my PlayStation 5 finally, and played a little bit last night. Not much, but I will say it looks great. It's not like I'm like putting in the shaders or the
does it have that ray tracing that you
right? I don't think it does, but I do think it runs really well, and the world is giant. Like I ran around a while, and so Minecraft. I played a bit of it this week. That's the thing worth mentioning. It's a game that keeps going even though it's 15 years old.
Cool. All right, I think we're good then. Yeah, I don't think there's anything extra that I need to say on here or whatever. I guess it's Nintendo, but I guess we should mention it because the person who is on it introduces our show every week. Did you watch that trailer for NBA Superstars that I put on the Slack?
Yes, it is. Yep. It's a new arcade basketball game.
Yeah. So there's a new arcade even. An arcade basketball game called NBA Superstars, and it's made by Eugene Jarvis from Raw Thrills. And it has, like I said, the person who introduces our show every week, whether he knows about it or not, Tim Kitzrow is on there as the announcer. So I watched the trailer of it, and it looks pretty cool. It looks like it looks like what should be like the official like NBA Jam sequel. I guess it's 3-on-3 instead of 2-on-2, but it still has that energy, and it's got like and you see some of the same dunks, like the same movements of the dunks that you would do on regular NBA Jam. So it definitely has that energy. So it's like the spiritual successor. And I can't even believe it's an arcade game. It's not even a console thing. Like it's like for where are we dropping this off at? Like arcades are kind of dead unless they're like Galloping Ghost, where they have these collections of all these old ones. You don't see a whole lot of new ones, unless you want to put it in whatever the new Chuck E. Cheese is going to be, as we talked about last week, or whatever's left of Dave and Buster's or whatever the fuck, I
don't know what companies are still making arcade games besides Raw Thrills, but I mean, my impression, not really digging too much into it, I think Raw Thrills is kind of like the number one company still making arcade games. Last time I was in the Dave and Buster's about 5 months ago now, 4 or 5 months ago, it seemed like there were probably 6 or 7 Raw Thrills games, and theirs were certainly the best games that Dave and Buster's had. So there's still a market for it, I guess. Raw Thrills seems to be, in my impression, the number one right now.
Yeah. I mean, I was like the only one it's like, I mean, I know they're pinball, but it's like Raw Thrills and Stern, because Stern's still cranking out the pinball games. and Raw Thrills is still making arcades. So I hope it comes to Switch or Switch 2 or whatever. I think it looks pretty cool. And I'm glad our boy Kitsro's on there. So good for him.
Boom shakalaka.
Yeah. But I think that wraps up for our episode 423. Thanks everybody for listening. If you would like to support the show and get bonus episodes, you can go to patreon.com/NintenDomain podcast. At $1 level, you get all of our expansion pack episodes. And above that, you can get our WART radio and video recordings of us fully unedited that has like an extra 20 minutes in it, probably, of us jibber-jabbering in between, after the beginning part and the ending part or whatever. You get to see the full thing and see us all interrupt each other or whatever else. You get to see all
What's that you said?
my video game backgrounds back there on the Patreon. Check that out. And you can find us online. You could just look up NintenDomain, find us on Facebook. We have a community page there. You can find me on Twitter still at Nintendo_domain and Jereme at JMaxStack until June 10th. And
Until June 10th.
you can find us on Blue Sky too. Apparently you can DM people on Blue Sky now. So I'm hoping to get a whole bunch of messages on there because I still post the podcast on Blue Sky. So check that out. And also you can find our podcast just audio with a static image on youtube.com/NintenDomain podcast. You can also find our Wrestle Chat AEW Fight Forever weekly stream on there as well. And on twitch.tv/NintenDomain podcast. If you want to hear us talk about the weekly AEW stuff, you can look at that and whatnot. And that's that episode. We are your hosts. I'm Trey Johnson.
I'm Jeremy Kowski.
John Litter.
And thanks everybody for listening. We'll see you next time. These fucking... You see that?
Yeah, what was that wafting through the podcast? There was some piece of cotton just flew past the camera. Or something.
I know it looked like a ghost. It looked like a phantom joining the podcast.
Was it yours?
It's my phantom. Yes, we have a phantom down here. No, it's
probably that menace.
It's on my screen. It's weird. It's like fluff or something. But I see it like every week. There's always some weird thing floating in front of the camera, and we just thought there. Anyway, it was my
that Chicago dust bunny.
Yeah,
weather.
The fluff has made it into the house somehow.